2021 by God's grace. The year 2020, like we said at the introductory part of this program, we began January with so much excitement, February, and in March, the whole world was hit. I know some parts were hit by the virus, the coronavirus, from the early part of the year, but by March, the whole world was shut down by the virus. For you, the year 2020, what would you say? What's your feeling about the year? How do you perceive the year so far?
Funny enough, I'm going to have a contrary view
Okay.
to the popular narrative. To me, it's been one of the best years of my life.
Oh.
If you can take away the pandemic, if you can take away loss of precious lives, you can take away people losing their jobs and profits, then to me it's one of the best years I've ever seen. I mean, the world was shaken. It's enough for me as a preacher, as a social commentator, to observe that, so we can, husband and wife can stay together. Some women never saw their husbands for a long time. They found them in the house, locked down together, no other woman. That was wonderful to me. And so Nigerian government can do without some stuff. So churches can hold from your bedroom. So I can broadcast online to my members. So I can be on Twitter, on Instagram, on many pastors never knew when the Bible said, go ye into the world and preach the gospel to all the world. I used to ask, how can I preach to all the world? Some people don't have visas. But during this coronavirus time, I tell you, a friend of mine, I don't want to mention them on TV, he's in Ibadan, used to have 1,500 people in his convention. He was able to reach 300,000 people online. He would never have dreamt, even if he fasted for 100 days. I don't know how you want me to explain 2020. It's been a year of refocusing, re-engineering, reorientating, rearrangement of my life, of Nigeria as a nation. I mean, we had lived in such a mentality, in such a narrative, that coronavirus, may it leave quickly, but it came and changed. There was a paradigm shift in your thinking, even as a broadcaster. Yesterday I was online with the NTA. I'm sure some people watch it national, and I was in the comfort of my hotel room
Here in Uyo.
Here in Uyo. I'm in Uyo, and I'm broadcasting NTA Lagos on Zoom, and I'm on for 1 hour explaining Christmas season, answering questions on national issues. I've been on that station before, and I had to take flight, go to Lagos, check into a big hotel, and then pay back my money, and sometimes nobody to refund that money. So yes, like I said, you take away the losses of businesses, take away all those things. I think we had a fantastic year of rethinking, re-engineering, refocusing as government, as a people, as families. Families became closer and closer. Then we learned charity. We learned that I could cook my rice and eat with my neighbors. I learned I could kill my goat and share with my neighbors. And I, as a pastor, I had always believed I could sit down and members would bring me money, bring me goods, bring me clothes. During this lockdown period, I was the one giving them clothes and money and food. It turned all around that members now knew that, oh, my pastor is not just an oracle that sit down collecting money and collecting rice. I closed my account, I cooked, I reached out to people. I went to the neighborhood. People were not my members because they couldn't even go to their church. I had to reach out to them and call the whole street. We did sanitation together. We did some things together. It's fun for me, except somebody wants to see it. You want to live the life you've been living before. The corona came and changed us.
Now, taking at this year, 2020, the pandemic, some people are questioning why there was no vision, because we hardly heard of any prophecies.
I did, and even in your studio here,
okay.
If somebody can get to my website or my Facebook page, you see I gave 54 prophecies, and I think number 22 says those. He said in 2020, a deadly sickness is coming to the whole world. It will get up with West Africa and finally enter Nigeria. It will cause redness of eyes and sneezing, and the world will battle it, but God will protect us. It's in my prophecy.
I remember you saying that on
It's in my prophecy. Yes, I come.
Well, I had to bring it up again for you to say it with your
Yes,
mouth.
I said it, and in fact, let me even say this. Somebody in Lagos, one of the media guys, commented that how can all these pastors, they say they see vision, they say they have prophecies. Why didn't they see this? And the lady, I don't even know her. Her name is Atta. She works in Crossover TV. She's an Akwa Ibom girl or something. And she replied back the person without my referring to me. She said to the journalist, a fellow journalist like her, no, here in Calabar and here in Nigeria, we had the prophecy. She replied, and I saw it. I was reading newspaper. I'm turning the pages. I saw almost a full page. I'm like, what? Somebody defended God and defended me without my knowledge. So,
okay, I remember when you prophesied about hand washing. Like, time will come when people will need to wash their hands over and over again. That was with regards the Ebola. You know,
excuse me.
With this vision you had, with the vision maybe some other people had, when we have such visions, what can we do? In line to take advantage of the vision.
There are some parts of there are aspects of prophecy we don't understand. Prophecies are given to forewarn us and prepare us. There are prophecies that can be taken away by prayers. That's what we call conditional prophecies. If thou shalt do this, I the Lord my God shall do this, thy God shall do this. And if thou shalt hearken, and I the Lord will take. Those are called conditional prophecies. They have snacks in it, they have commas in it. And meaning if you repent or pray, you can escape. But there are also what we call warning prophecies. It shows the supremacy of God, his omnisciency and omnipotency. In that case, when he speaks, only those who fear God prepare themselves, protect themselves. But others may be careless and fall into it. In that case, it will come to pass.
Okay. Now, what would you say about the sector of people who think when such a pandemic comes, it's like a punishment from God?
Not all pandemics are punishment from God. God has a way of telling the world that he's God. And pandemic is not even from God, so to say. It's from the devil. God does not bring sickness to warn us of his judgment and anger. But God can allow the devil to test us, and God can allow a pandemic to come on us and to waken us up from sleep.
Okay. Now, in all of this, what lessons are there to be learned from the pandemic, from the way the year 2020 has been? What lessons can our leaders, governments, everyone learn from the health sector, from our information and technology system and all that?
You're almost answering that question. You're very close to answering that question. But the coronavirus pandemic, for instance, came to tell us that our governments, different levels of government, federal, state, and others, and different sectors of government, especially the health sector, the security sector, we were not prepared for our next level. The hospitals were not well equipped, except in Akwa Ibom State, for instance. I'm not saying it because the governor is a Christian, but Akwa Ibom got ready. For instance, the hospitals were equipped, and the governor was renovating, like the hospital which I was born, Itumba Hospital. I had visited Itumba Hospital, and when this pandemic came, I sent some people to go and check. It was a different stuff entirely. The Anwa, all those hospitals. I'm not saying it to fantasize anybody, but the virus exposed different governments and their levels of unpreparedness. For instance, the palliatives. We don't have good economic distributive system, and that explains why federal budgets are approved and passed in Abuja, but does not trickle down to the local levels, to the units of government. It doesn't trickle down, and the palliative expose us. I mean, I don't want to mention states. Some states had those palliatives stored up in hundreds of thousands, bags of rice and stuff stored up and not shared to the people. It didn't reach the common people. And that really exposed also, we need to do change in policies, governmental policies. Our policies are still archaic. We are still with that post-colonial way of administrating the local governments, for instance. We are still with that the underdeveloped world's attitude towards things. People have passed that level. You think ahead of time. People, government are now proactive. Policymakers should foresee, foreknow, and foretell, and foreplan for stuff. In America, they don't have they don't have to wait to have the wild wind or what you call the tsunami, but they are ready for any storm. They are ready for any disaster, and they are ready. For instance, in their airports, the what do you call it, the vans, the fire service vans are standing before the flight arrive. I mean, when you arrive in any international airport, those trucks are following the airline. But in Nigeria and the developing countries, you wait till we hear fire. Then we now call the fire service that, sorry, an airline has, God forbid, crashed. Then the fire service now go and look for water. Then they look for water. Of course, first of all, you look for the director. They say, oh, guy is not on seat. Okay, please, they look for his assistant director, who now looks for water. And when they have seen water, they said, oh, please, can somebody go and buy fuel and put in the truck? So we are not proactive, as it were, in handling matters that concern citizens. Nigerians, I used to say, are very good in preparing for elections, the next elections, but we are not good in preparing for the next generation. We just go for election. When once election time comes, people are vibing and hyping, and politicians and even the voters are all on uniform and t-shirts, and we don't really we don't look like we live in a generation something can happen. Okay, for instance, now the second lockdown may likely take place. What were the things we put on ground that in case this virus, resurges? What we didn't. Look at the way we threw away our face masks. We no more sanitizing our hand. In fact, people even announced that it's over. Oh, and then we are shocked. We wake up one day to be shocked to hear that very great personalities, including paramount rulers, military generals, are dying. And I'm told that this other one is even more deadly than the first batch. So what is the plan? Your TV station, what is the plan the government, the health sectors, the doctors had on ground? I can assure you that many people had no plan B in case this had resurged.
Okay. Also in focus in the year 2020 were issues of security matters. We had the NSAS protests as a result of people who were tired of the way our police, the Nigeria police force, operates. We had that escalated into we had bandits take over the protests, hoodlums take over the protests, and cause mayhem in the society. What do you think about our security situation here in the country? What lessons should be learned from what has happened so far in 2020?
Number one, I think at federal level, we should learn to change. Nobody's indispensable. Nobody. But we're not changing the operatives of our security formations. That affects, because if you keeping one person in one place and all he knows and had known has been used, and you still have the same situation, common sense demands you change them. Head of Navy, head of Army, everybody should be changed. This is Nigeria. Don't personalize governance, and don't use nepotic, a yardstick to guard, protect some people. Some people's tenure of office had even long expired. They are still there because of personal whims and caprices of people who are in the corridors of power. Number two, I think the Nigerian security operatives don't know that the world has gone past using human personnel only to run security. We are still with big, long, den guns, AK-47, very archaic machines and instrument of security. I've been to about 50 countries. I've interacted with people around the world. I have honorable certificate from the United States House of Representatives. I've studied security in the Massachusetts University in Boston in US with some from military generals taught by the CIA. So I'm not just a bishop. I understand the workability and functionality of security. I've been trained on counterterrorism, and so I understand. We are just archaic. Okay, look at, for instance, how did the United States government under President Trump bring down their #1 terrorist in Iran? No American soldier was found there. No American policeman was found there. By drones. We now live in a world of science and technology. Yeah? That's why when I see policemen with big guns, den guns, standing behind a public officer, 16 of them on the right, 16 on the left, like if the officer is under arrest, I cry and I weep, because it's about technology now. It's about surveillance. It's about intelligent gathering. We've gone past big guns and big people. Battles are no more fought with guns. Battles are now fought with cameras and drones and internet. People, but in fact, the battle of world powers are fighting inside the internet. There should be intelligent gathering, like what featuring me here on this studio. The intelligence department in this state, for instance, supposed to know that you're about to bring a guest speaker called Emmah Isong, and what is his capacity, and what is his connectivity, and what is his ability, and what can he do and can he not do. For instance, in Uyo, there should be profiling of criminals. I can tell you that all the DPOs in Akwa Ibom know all the criminals. Believe me, they know. But when a DPO is changed, he has no data. He has no information within his disposal. There should be strong information. There should be more policemen on mufti driving spy cars around town than policemen on uniform.
What's your quest for knowledge on security?
Because we live in an insecure country, and I am a bishop operating in an insecure sector. My life, your life, is in danger always. So I took interest in security. I was sent there to be trained by U.S. Department of States, and I had the opportunity. There were other imams. I wasn't the only religious leaders, and there were other military generals, and we went to study counterterrorism, anti-terrorism, and we understood the world has gone far. Like some of the things I learned. What is wrong in government planting high-powered surveillance cameras in major crowded streets of some states? There's nothing wrong, and these cameras are controlled in the room. What is wrong in sending drones to dispatching drones to major functions in Akwa Ibom, for instance? Dispatch drones. You are not the owner of the function, but the drone will tell us which other cannibal is passing through Uyo village road, which headsman has entered a tenan in our farms. Drones can monitor all our farm lands and our border posts. I still give credit to the governor, for instance, of Akwa Ibom. During the lockdown, Akwa Ibom was the only state that had gates. I was coming from Calabar to enter Akwa Ibom under very strong security permission, and there was a gate. So, but some states and some cities don't know. They should be monitoring. The motor parks should be monitored, and people arriving and taking off in the airport should be monitored. What some government does is that they only monitor their enemies. If somebody is not in your good books, you put surveillance on him, monitor him. That's towards your personal aggrandizement. Security, the purpose of government is security of lives and properties. And I think, and to answer your question, I think every Nigerian should be security alert and security educated. It's not just me. Everybody, even you're supposed to study about security. You're supposed to understand movement and what tendencies avail in your environment and how to counter those tendencies.
Okay. Now, still talking about security, people are calling for reforms in the police, generally in our security agencies. What kind of reforms would you love to see?
Well, our officers to be well motivated, not just increase in salary. There's economic error we have in Nigeria. People just think that to motivate somebody, you increase his salary. Well, once you increase salaries, even bags of rice will increase, price of beans will increase, and the landlord will hear and increase the house rent. So I've never used increase in salary as a economic motivation. How about making sure that his uniforms are clean and dry clean? I mean, imagine if I'm a police officer, my uniform is always new and always dry clean. I'll feel like a king, and I will not be able to take bribe of 20 naira because I'm so handsome, I'm so neat that I won't talk to, I won't do dirty things. So you keep that. How about having health insurance to the officers and also other life insurance, because the fear of any wife or family or sibling of a police officer or an army officer is that he may come back and lose his life. How will I eat? How will my children be educated? So it's not just to pay them 6 million naira in front of television cameras in Abuja. You make sure there's a solid insurance that, God forbid. How about also protective gears? You can give them protective gears. They're in Colombia now. They produce bulletproof clothes like what you are wearing. Most American presidents are not wearing ordinary suits. It's bulletproof, and bulletproof is no more iron and a shield and a helmet. You can just wear like an earring. It can divert a bullet. You can put it like a singlet. There's a company in Colombia. It's just a singlet. You put on your singlet and your undies, and it's all. So all this, when once an officer knows that he's protected, the criminal comes to Odeshi. He comes to Odeshi, the local Odeshi, to fight him. He knows he has a scientific bulletproof clothes, so he approaches him, and they exchange fire, and it's bold enough. He becomes gallant because he's protected, and so we must have that motivation. The officer motivated. That is the key, because many of these corrupt officers are because they are not enoughly or well motivated.
Still talking about reforms in our security system, and people called for, particularly for reforms in the police. Some people called for community policing, a change in the face of the police generally. What's your stance on that? And so far we've started seeing some people come up. What's your stance on what's happening at the moment in the police?
Number one, there's lack of intelligence sharing. I mean, you see a policeman fighting with a Navy man, you see a Navy man fighting with an Air Force man. It shows the lack of synergy with the different arms of security. So there must be intelligent gathering, whether you call it community policing or not. There has to be intelligent gathering and information sharing. When you gather the information, you're supposed to share it. There's so much selfishness in the different sectors of security. I mean, the commander of Mopol wants to be the one in charge. The commander of this wants to be the people like civil defense. They are seen not as being too military. They are almost seen as paramilitary, whereas they are armed, and they are also an arm of intelligence. Traditional rulers and religious leaders should be brought in. Every village head and traditional ruler knows the criminals in his domain. They know. And then also there should be necessary legal reforms, law reforms. For instance, the witness code has to be changed so that I can be able to report a criminal in a police station and not be detained. Because right now, if you go to a police station and say, I saw one guy, he's come 3 times in the midnight. He's newly packed into my environment, and he's coming in, and I heard him adjusting a gun. The police, I'm sorry to say, will detain you. They'll tell you to stay here and come and tell us how you see it. How did you see the man? In fact, you yourself, you are likely to be a criminal. So people are afraid to testify. They are afraid to report. And there should be a central information system in which somebody should anonymously call and pass information. And the police has a way to look if those information are real, because somebody can fake it and lie. So once the witness system, the legal system, the laws are reformed, and the policemen are motivated, information, intelligence gathering, and sharing, not just gathering. Remember I said intelligence gathering and sharing. Like you are here, some of your colleagues should tell you that, look, be very careful, there's something there, and you pass on to the police officer, and they pass on to the cameraman. There must be information. There's no intelligence sharing. I can tell you that, like in Cross River State, the day those guys were coming in to ransack Cross River State, because they burned down and ransacked 54 public buildings, I am in the knowledge that some farmers and some fishermen saw them. They saw them, but they're afraid to pass information, or they may not know how to pass information, or if they know, they may be afraid. If I pass this information and these people truly come and burn down Calabar, I could be arrested. So we need to reform those gray areas in security. We all have to watch. In London, I tell you, one day, no, in Paris, I was with my family for holiday, and in our room, my wife is a twin, so we stay with a twin sister. We're playing music because one of the kids had his birthday. Police arrive at the door, and we ask the police, how did you know we play music? He said, a neighbor called them that is hearing some noise. He thought husband and wife were fighting because he didn't know that my wife's twin sister had guests from Nigeria. And we are loud people. We are very loud people. We like to play that music loud and shout and embrace ourselves. And the children, you know, were screaming. Ah! So the neighbor, the next door neighbor, had shared the information to the police, and they had come to intervene in a family fight. They did not know it was a party. So they asked us to reduce the volume of the music. So every Akwa Ibomite, every Nigerian should be a security officer. It's not only the uniform people, and the uniform people must work in consonance, in relationship with some youth leaders, with some traditional leaders and religious leaders, and we can get ourselves safe. Because in the law of security, if you are not safe, I'm not safe. If you are not safe, I'm not safe. So we watch over each other's shoulder.
The NSAS protest was another prominent feature of the year 2020. Now, people, the genuine protesters, tried to channel their grief, you know. That was their own way of doing it. What ways would you suggest, what better ways can people express their grief? And what can our leaders do? What lessons should be learned from, you know, the way people reacted?
Before we come to the way the answers was handled, let's talk to our leaders. Our leaders are not prone to suggestions. They're not prone to opinions. We have governments all over the place that cannot listen to opposite opinion. We should ready to be criticized. We should ready to be to listen to contrary opinions. You are not Alpha and Omega. You are not Jesus Christ. Even Jesus Christ, at a point, he will ask the disciples, "Whom do men think I am?" We don't have feedback, as it were. I'm sorry to say, this is not a democracy. Because democracy is government of the people, by the people, from the people, to the people, for the people. And what we have here is some group of people who have hijacked instrument of government and then rule us. We don't have leaders, we have rulers. They don't listen to us. Of course, the NSAS process was there for years and months of griefs, bottled up, and of course, and exploded and over exploded. You will not, okay, it's like if you are a pastor and somebody said, my child slapped me. Please don't just grab the child and say, why do you slap your father? You don't know the underlying factors and the accumulating issues over years. This boy has tried and talked and reported to neighbors. I think it just like if it's a spillover and then he slapped the father. I'm not justifying that. I'm saying don't just rush to condemn. Something happened that made something happen, that caused something to happen. And that was the NSAS. Even though it was hijacked by hoodlums, people, our government were not, I'll give you an example. You had issues of corruption leveled against some of our leaders in some national parastatals, and it was swept under carpet. You have the House of Representatives come and say, okay, let's forget the issue of 82 billion. Let's forget. So the youths are like, wait, I don't have a job. You are talking about 82 billion to Niger Delta. Please. So these people were angry. People were angry. They watched that you can steal our money and go. They watched that things where you can go to court and bribe yourself and come out. So the youths had another language, which we regret, of expressing their grievance. And which, like you said, what method? I'll give you the method. In developed countries, you don't burn down your national assets. Because if you say you are a youth, you are the loser. These people who are in government, they will soon go. And they have houses abroad. So when you burn down government buildings and burn down library, I don't know, it's some sort of lack of education. When you burn down the things that belong to you, those are now your properties. In fact, those are the remaining things. The other money, they have taken and run away to London. The remaining thing are all these assets in the States that belong to you and I and our children's children. So the best way to pass is to journalism. I put the blame on the fourth estate of the realm. I'm sorry to say it, I'm the national patron of the NUJ in South South. I have reason to blame my boys and girls. The journalists are not telling truth to power. The journalists are controlling their pens. They are controlling their mouth. You go to a TV station, you want to express yourself. The person interviewing you will shut you down for fear of powers that be. Of course, for fear of his or her job. So why do we call journalists fourth estate of realm? Because you have the executive arm, judiciary, and legislature, and the fourth arm of government are the media. The media control the minds of the people. They are the opinion influencers. They are the fourth estate of the realm. You are the one we depend on. You are like our last hope. Well, they say the last hope is the judiciary. Okay, let me say the last hope are the journalists. The journalists should allow the expression of the people, because if you don't allow the people to express themselves and talk what they feel, they will carry machete and matches and go and burn down things. So journalism industry or sector should open up and come, especially those of them under government payment. They can pass this information. I don't believe in insulting government. The Bible is against insulting government. You can pass your opinion with modesty. I listen to some radio station in Akwa, they're abusing government. I said, then the person does not know. I can pass my opinion to a government person without abusing him. Name calling and insulting leadership is against the Bible. The Bible says, thou shalt not speak evil of the leader of your people. That's what the Bible says. One day, Paul Apostle mistakenly called the chief priest whited sepulchre. And somebody said, that's the chief priest. He apologized. He said, I did not know he was the chief priest. He apologized. So it is unscriptural, unchristian, uncultural, uncivic to insult government. Your governor, your president, as if we're cartooning the president of Nigeria. I don't need to cartoon the president of Nigeria. I don't need to abuse him and call him derogatory names. I can pass my message to him. If he likes, he takes it. He does not like, I pray for him. So that is how to curb the NSAS movement. It was a bottle up, steam up, like pushing a child to the wall. Okay, after the wall, what next? Do you get me? So when you push a child to the wall and you keep begging and you push him to the wall, since he only has an option to push you back, the only option is to push you back. So we should allow expressions. That's why the parliament should be active. The journalistic industry should be active. And those in the executive arm of government, even at local government level, state level, federal level, should listen to the people. I believe a leader should read a lot of papers online and the physical papers. Like this program, all government functionaries should be able to watch. Some of them will not watch. They said, I don't care what you say. There's so much power to our leaders, so much authority that I think they have disregarded the opinion of the people.
Okay. Well, I know for sure that people who are journalists in the true sense of the word, they try as much as possible to do their part, especially in terms of developmental journalism. But then we know there are some bad eggs. There are some bad eggs here and there. There are some people who are afraid of what's going to happen because they saw something else happen to the other person. But I do know for sure that, for instance, the NUJ here in Akwa Ibom State, I'm speaking as a member.
Yeah.
We do our best.
I appreciate the NUJ in Akwa Ibom. I do appreciate you guys.
And we try to our leaders try to caution people who try to get
some journalists can be hijacked. Some journalists can be hijacked. That's the fun of journalism. You can be hijacked if you don't have a disciplined mind. I think that's where sometimes government overreact when they notice that you've taken sides and you've been bribed or hijacked to be used against governance. So government also have their own machineries to protect themselves. So, but in fairness, okay, let me give you an example. If I'm a journalist, and let's take for instance Udom Emmanuel's government. Let's take for instance. I keep writing good things about Udom Emmanuel, and I highlight what he has achieved. The industries, the tissue paper in it too. I highlight the syringe and the industry. The day I will speak against Udom's government, or I will correct it, he will accept it. You see how it works. But if from the day he was inaugurated, up till the day he will leave office in 2023. I keep attacking, nothing good. How won't he have not something good? How can you say he's, this is where journalism is taken to extreme. If I were a journalist, I will make sure I balance my pen. I say to the people, this man is good. This man is doing well. This man has renovated the hospital, has taken industries to all the 31 local. As I'm saying that, one day I woke up and said, no, I don't like the way this was done. Can I shock you? Both the governor and the opponents, they will respect me. It's not balanced. When it's balanced, people will accept it. Like me, I don't like everything the federal government is doing. I mean, many things the federal government is doing, but I like some things about them. I like the discipline of Mr. President. You see, the showmanship was too much. The showmanship of people in power was too much. But if you look at the president and commander-in-chief, you see some calmness, some fatherhood. But I don't like his reaction to issues when it concerns, let's say, somebody has died or somebody's kidnapped. I don't like his response. I mean, sometimes you see the media people come to respond for him. If I were President Buhari, I would come out to address the NSAS people. If the president had come out to address the NSAS people physically and stand with microphone and said, relax, my children, I have heard you, that thing would have ended in 1 week. So, yes, I don't like some things the president does. Yes, I like some things. But you as journalists cannot say that from beginning of, let's say, Udom Emmanuel's government till the day he will leave. He is not good. Even a child who is blind will not believe you. Because people have seen projects, have seen changes, the ban on cultism. They have seen the support to the church. They have seen religiosity in Akwa Ibom. Christianity has risen. They have seen peace. I didn't used to come to you because I cannot pass on the street. Now people can come. The diaspora is coming. People are bringing businesses. How about the Ibom airline, for instance? I've joined that flight up to 10, 20 times. And I encourage my children to join. I prefer it. It's someone that brought it. Federal government cannot bring airline. They brought a committee to float a national fleet. Up to today, we don't have one. The national fleet has not taken off. And a state, one of the smallest states in Nigeria, stood up and have 5 on the fleet. They have 5 and they are flying. Almost every part. They come to Calabar and come to Abuja. So I think journalists, both online media and the electronic and print media, you can a little bit be balanced in criticizing government, because let me say this before your next question. Do you know the NSAS? Do you know the leader of the NSAS? Good. You know, people ask, who was the leader of the NSAS? It wasn't Sowore. It wasn't anybody. Do you know the leader of the NSAS? He was the media. The online media were the director of NSAS. Because these days, in one click of your telephone and iPad, information is disseminated. And how about if there are fake news in that information? Somebody can be killed. I was passing by the road today, and I saw a man being burnt in Uyo here. Burnt to ashes. People are gathered. Yes. Oh, you heard about it?
Yeah.
I couldn't stop to help with my policeman because I'm running to catch up your appointment. But he's already burnt. When I asked my driver and my policeman there, I said, how about if this man was innocent? It could have just been one fake news. Somebody could be struggling land with him or something else with him and raise a false alarm and said, you know, and then you put tire and burn. No opportunity to listen to him, no opportunity to investigate him. So, jungle justice. So the media, I still say, has a role. And fake news and false information can cause disharmony in a state and in a nation. Do you know what caused the first civil war in Nigeria? It was fake news. I did some history of the civil war. It was fake news. And that's why after they fought the war of no victor, no vanquish, Gowon and the Ojukwu people and Effiong them came together on the table and noticed that what are we really fighting? And up till now, if I ask you what caused us to fight civil war, you can't pinpoint anything. Just this one has come or this one has come, they want to. And that caused the civil war. And we lost the lives that we lost, especially in the East. So, and any war, most wars are caused by fake news. That's where the place of the fourth estate of the realm is important, not only in correcting and speaking truth to power, but in balancing and controlling the narrative in the minds of the people. because I don't have another place to get information than the media. When I wake up in the morning, I go through what the media says. How about if the media is deceiving me? So that's where we are standing, especially in the NSAS protest.
Okay, let me say this, that we, the members of the Fourth Estate of the Realm, we are proud to have you.
Thank you so
as
much.
our
I'm proud
patron.
to relate to
We are
all
proud
you
to
guys.
have you
Yes.
as our patron. Now we move ahead. Now, you know, you said something in the course of our conversation. You said there's that our leaders focus more in preparing for elections
For the
and
next
not,
election.
for the next election,
And they miss the next
and
generation.
not the next generation.
Yes, yes.
Now we've been talking about electoral reforms. 2023 is the road to 2020 is we've already hit the journey. The journey is ongoing at the moment. What kind of reforms would you love to see?
That's a $1 million question. First of all, I would like players of politics or political process to differentiate politics from government or governance. There's no difference. I saw a governor somewhere in the north putting the flag of his party in his office, his official seat. Quite all right, you are proud of your party, but when you win election in any place, you cease to be a party property. You are now our leader in Borno State, in Enugu State, in Akwa Ibom State. You are no more, I'm sure that's what Mr. President tried to say. I'm not for anybody. Is it? I belong to everybody and not for whatever. But I'm sure Nigerians will remember that statement. That statement is supposed to harmonize what I'm saying. When once elections are over, governance starts. So one of the reforms I would like to see, the second reform I would like to see is that the winner should not take it all. Because right now in Nigerian politics or in Nigerian election, the winner takes it all. And when you take it all, okay, let me give an example. If there are 500,000 people in a state and who are voters, and you won by let's say 260,000, how many thousand does the other person have? He has about 230,000. So you got 260,000 and won him, sworn him, and he got 230,000. Did you notice that he still controls almost half of your population if we come to reality? So I will not believe that winners should take it all. I believe we should come to a form of government in the electoral review whereby if I won as a president, then the person who lost, or what do you call it, the first runner-up, whoever it is, should be brought by any means into the round table. It happened in Kenya. It happened in Zambia. Even in Britain. You must have an all-inclusive government. I know that the olive branch is sometimes rejected by the opponent. But why must you play opposition? I was telling them in Cross River State, why do you want to play opposition for 4 years? Are you not a businessman? Are you not a politician? You want to play opposition for 4 years? That's sarcastic. You be in opposition for 4 years? Doing what? Criticizing somebody? He goes to commission a project, you criticize, and that become like a profession? No. Everybody should drop. When election is finished, and the court cases are finished, and somebody is sworn in, we take a phone and congratulate the person, and we join hands with him. He also should open his doors. Let's come in and build. Because sometimes the number of votes you use to win somebody is very small. Like in Lagos State, just before this last one, I think it was Ambode's, Ambode and the other guy, I've forgotten his name. It was just, is it 6,000? 6,000 means nothing. The Lagos vote was almost 50-50. If you won, congratulations. But open your door and bring in opposition. Because it will reduce social tension. It will reduce mischievous movement. Because most of the security situation we are talking about are orchestrated by people who need recognition, who feel they have been abandoned, who feel angered that they lost election. So our electoral reform should bring in the system in which the winner will not take it all. That's apart from the voters aspect to make it free and fair. Because right now, poverty controls election in Nigeria. I mean, I don't want to mention the state. When you line up and people come with 5,000 naira to give you, and you have not eaten for 3 days, and you see 5,000 naira, my sister, it takes Jesus Christ in your heart as your Lord and Savior to refuse 5,000 naira, even though it's against the law, and they collect. And some of those people lining up to vote have not. So voters education, because some voters don't even. In fact, if you pick some old women from the line, ma, whom do you want to vote for? They send your uncle. So and then we're not really educated as voters. That's so politicians capitalize on lack of education, illiteracy of the people, hunger, economic hardship, and the campaign. You know, Nigerian campaign is based on the fact that people are hungry. That's why you see crowd coming out. Most of those crowd you see in electoral campaigns are hired crowd. They are hired. I don't want to mention names again. You see somebody decamping from one party to the other. He goes to the stadium in his local government and declare, is this? Then the stadium is full. You ask yourself, stadium full? When did you start winning these other people to your party? You hire those people. You see, that's why in every electoral campaign, if you look behind across the road, you see 600 buses, and people are paid and given 1,000 naira in some cases to appear. So it's based on poverty. The politicians in Nigeria know that when once nobody's poor again and everybody's rich, we are going to play a free and fair election. They know, and that's why they perpetuate poverty and they increase suffering, so that Nigerians will always wait after 4 years for an electoral season to have some bag of rice, to have t-shirt, to have music. And then another point is that most of our politicians don't say anything during the campaign. I bet you to play any of the campaign, they don't say anything. This is what happened. You hire comedians, get MC, bring Kanu Wanko, bring Amokachi, bring Omotola, bring any celebrity. The place is full. Then we start to play music, and you know, Akwa Ibom, for instance, we have good musicians. We dance, then t-shirts are flying, printers are making money, and pure water is on the background. At the end, the people that want to rule you, they just come and say, so party, yes, so party, yes, good night. So we are not able to extract from our would-be politician his manifesto. What should happen is, excuse me, sir, you want to be local government chairman, governor, House of Rep, God bless you. Drop your manifesto here. Read it. How many people have come to this station to read their manifesto? How many? But you see them being sworn in. They don't have manifesto. What is manifesto? What the promises that we can hold on to. What have you promised? If they do, they have one general promise that you cannot quantify. You cannot assess, you cannot estimate, you cannot judge. They'll just tell you, we shall develop. That's why from the beginning of electoral processes, politicians promise water, light, good roads, employment, and healthcare. Please look around some states. They are not there. You know why? Because those things were not specific. So politicians should not come and tell us, we shall do your roads. They should mention the road they will do. They should mention. So manifestos should be presented so that we can be able to assess your achievement. Many of these politicians' campaigns are simply music, comedy, dancing, and celebration. Nobody's doing anything. And nobody holds anybody responsible for not doing anything. Because after all, we didn't even extract any promise from him.
Okay. Now, for people who want the best for the country, for youths who want to protect, generations and generations to come, what should they do, especially as we move towards 2023?
Refuse to be used as talks, because as you make yourself, so will people take you. So youth should refuse. Once the youth refuse to be used as talks and foot soldiers to perpetuate violence in political process, political stakeholders will involve them. Of course, number two, there should be participation. Did I hear something like not too young to run?
Not too young to run.
It died just after they started. It died. It faded out. So the youth should come out, and especially if you have of the age, legal age to contest and participate in the process. Somebody tried to analyze. He said, how old was Gowon? How old was all these our old leaders when they were ruling this nation? Someone like Senator Lely Moke, who later became governor. It was, I think up to today, is the youngest senator in Nigeria we've ever had. So, but Leal is getting old. How many Leal Imokes are coming up? So, and our own society too excludes the youths, and that's why they form themselves to another pressure group like cultists and thugs and hatched men for these politicians. If the youths can say to themselves, Oga, I'm not ready to kill anybody for you. I'm not ready to go and fight anybody for you. I want to contest. That sugar where they sweet for your mouth, I want to chop them. That your cars, I want to also drive. When once the youth become participatory and involved in the electoral process and nobody to employ them, because the idle man is a devil's workshop, nobody to use them as killers and people who maim people, they will respect them.
Okay. In case you're just joining us, I've been speaking with the National Publicity Secretary of the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, Bishop Emmah Isong, and we've been talking about several issues that we need to talk about with regards to the year 2020, and we've had several reactions from our social media handle, that's Facebook, AKBC TV Live. We have Samuel Lukwesi who agrees with what you said. He said, absolutely, information gathering and sharing is key. Ekube Tawo says we have to reform grey areas in security. Ekube also says the government should learn to listen to contrary opinions. Powerful Helen Isong. Other reactions, the media the opinion influencers with regards what you said, and it is from Ekube Tawo. He also wants more to be done on online media platforms. We'll take a short break here. On the heels of that, we'll still be talking with Bishop Emmah Isong, and not to forget that this is Yuletide. Christmas is in there. We'll also be talking about Christmas as after this short break. Do stay with us.
Come to Akwa Ibom and enjoy Christmas. Fa la 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 la. Again. Fa la 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 la. Fa la 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 la.
Akwa Ibom Broadcasting Corporation, AKBC, wishes you a very Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year.
Now the jingle hop has begun. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bell time, jingle bell time. Dancing and dancing in Jingle Bell Square. In the frosty air.
Alright, it's Center Point AM45. Thanks for staying with us on the program. I still have with me the National Publicity Secretary of the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, Bishop Emmah Isong, and we'll be talking about several issues that concerns our polity, from security, health, the year 2020, all of that. Okay, before we talk about Christmas, let's talk about persecution of Christians. We've had this like a recurring case: Boko Haram, insurgents, farm headsmen killing Christians and all of that. What's the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria's stance on all of this?
That's a very official question, so I better belt up to answer it. The Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, which you know is an arm of CAN, the biggest arm of CAN, contains of all the Pentecostal churches you've ever known in Nigeria. Our stand on terrorism, and of course, which is at the backdrop is Sharia and Fulanization and Islamization of Nigeria. is that we condemn in strong terms. Our president, Reverend Dr. Felix Omobude, has many times on press releases stood against persecution of people of other faith. No, not just persecution of Christians, persecution of people of other faith. You know that people talk of religious tolerance. When I travel out to study security, I notice that the word religious tolerance is a bad word. We should never say religious tolerant. You only tolerate somebody in a sarcastic manner. It's a derogative word. Can you come here? I'll tolerate you. It should be religious understanding, or religious relationship, or religious friendship, not tolerant. There is nothing like religious tolerant. With religious tolerance, you are saying that my religion or your religion is more superior than mine, and more so in a country like Nigeria that is a secular state by constitution. We're still feeling people are up, lifting the Sharia. There's a plan by some people to lift up the Sharia. The Sharia has no place in the Nigerian federal law, so we should not promote Sharia law. Sometimes we mix the two, and of course, persecution of people of other religion, which is a thing of concern to United Nations, is an infringement on the fundamental human right of other people. Nobody has a right to kill anybody because of his religion, and nobody has a right to persecute or discriminate against anybody based on his religious belief. I was speaking on another TV station yesterday or thereabout. I said, when the juju doctor said bring chicken, white chicken, black chicken, red chicken, he's just working on your mentality. When you put all the chicken in the hot pot this Christmas and peel out the feathers, can I shock you? Chicken is chicken, and they are the same color. So a Nigerian is a Nigerian, whether he be of this faith or another faith. So religion should be a personal thing. Do not force anybody to accept your God, and do not use knife to threaten anybody. Imagine me as a bishop going to Kaduna now, or going to Sokoto with knife, and I say, if you don't receive Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior, I'm going to machete you, enter into your bush and kidnap your women and rape them and shoot them with gun. Then my God is not alive. I believe I can preach the gospel of Jesus Christ and tell somebody that Jesus Christ is Lord. He can save you from sin and from darkness and from demons. You should, on your free will, receive Jesus, and I pray with you. And I should not persecute anybody who says, I'm not receiving your God. So we should come to that point in Nigeria. That is the stand of the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria.
Okay. Now, you are also the coordinator remedy for victims of religious discrimination and persecution. What do you do in your capacity as remedy for victims of persecution?
We not only have programs that exposes discriminative activities, we also have affiliates and our allies that can take the cases up legally if we found out that a people or a group of people or a person is persecuted based on his religious belief. So the organization, the initiative is that nobody should be discriminated or persecuted or excluded based on what he believes, especially Christians. And so we also have trying to gather data of churches that were burnt, churches that were bombed, and of widows or pastors who have laid down their lives as martyrs for the gospel. We also liaise with other bodies, CAN and PFN, to fight against false doctrine. In the AKBC here, we have a program called the Defense of the Gospel. We sponsor that program, and it is mainly to ameliorate and deal with issues of false doctrine, because false doctrine is now a thing of concern. People are coming with all kinds of personal feelings and expressing like it is a scriptural doctrine. So the remedy helps to fight false doctrine because it's a threat against Christianity.
Okay. Now it's Christmas season. 25th December, officially for Christians world over, is Christmas Day. Now, what is the true meaning of Christmas? Why should we celebrate Christmas? And like you've said, we shouldn't say you
shouldn't say tolerance.
Tolerance, okay. The understanding of people who are saying no, we shouldn't, Christians this time around who are saying we shouldn't celebrate. What's your stance on all of that?
Well, let's first of all look at Matthew chapter 1 verse 18. Bible, we're talking about the meaning of Christmas. Matthew 1:18, it said, now the birth of Jesus Christ was on this wise, when as his mother Mary was espoused to Joseph, but before they came together, she was found with a child of the Holy Spirit. That is a summary of the immaculate conception and the holy birth of our Lord Jesus Christ. If people don't want to celebrate Christmas, then they should not celebrate Easter. Because if the child was not born, he would not have died. So if a child died in Easter and resurrected, then he was born. So the birth of Jesus is a reality, but the date of the birth of Jesus is a controversy. Did you get what I'm saying? The birth is accepted by everyone who was born. It came in flesh and blood. God came down in flesh and blood, passed through the womb of a virgin, manifest to all men. He lived on the street of Galilee and Bethlehem and Jerusalem. He performed miracles. He was crucified for our sin. On the third day, he resurrected. The Bible says, without controversy, this is the summary of our faith. Now, some people believe that, oh, Christmas, 25th December is not the day. You know what I said to them? Find a day and celebrate yours. I and my family have decided that 25th, we will celebrate the birth of Jesus. He said, Bishop, but he was not born on 25th. I said, but he was born. He was born is enough for me to celebrate his birthday. So all these paranoid stories and superstitious philosophies that day belongs to a demon, a Tammuz god, sun god in history, was an idolatrous practice. Okay, my birthday is 26 October. Sorry to announce it on TV. I don't know what other activities take place on that day. Not only one activity takes place on your birthday. On your birthday, which you used to celebrate and pop champagne and cut cake, somebody somewhere may be worshiping demon. I'm not going to control that. So we cannot donate 25th December to Tammuz God. He didn't create the day. All days belongs to God. So if Jesus was not born on 25th, Christians all over the world, for political reasons, for religious reasons, we have accepted and adopted 25th December to celebrate that birthday. What is wrong with that? And there are many reasons, like I said, political reasons. Our Muslim brothers have their holidays. So if you want to cancel Christmas, you are telling the federal government, take away this holiday from us, and I'm not ready to lose this holiday. So I'm not worshiping another God. It is my intention and motive of celebration that God will judge, not the day I celebrate. People should put this on perspective. So 25th December, yes, you say he was not born on that day, which you yourself, you were not born, you didn't know. You are just reading somebody twatted history. I have decided to celebrate Jesus Christ's birth, and I tell people Merry Christmas. And thank God for President Trump. He came back to America. They were almost wiping out Christmas. He said, no, we must celebrate Christmas. So he's not just an holiday. You know, another meaning for holiday is holy day. Okay. It's actually holy day. If you check Bible, it said, do not discriminate yourself based on an holy day. Actually, it was why that was used. Like it's an holy day. So it's been dedicated for the worship of God. Gifts are exchanged with families. Prayers are offered for people of faith and for government and for people who have lack opportunity. Of course, there are people who will never see their family until this Christmas time. So it is not idolatry to celebrate Christmas. It is what we practice on Christmas that is idolatry, not our worship of God.
Okay. So your message for Kwaiban people, for Nigerians, for the whole world as we celebrate 2020 Christmas.
Don't miss the focus. Don't miss the reason for the season. Just focus on Jesus. The reason for the season is Jesus Christ. Don't lose it. Don't go get drunk and do things in the name of Christmas. Remember, if you come to my birthday and you don't arrive and meet me and celebrate me, but you enter my neighbor's house and get drunk, then you have not celebrated me. So let's preach the child. The wise men, they came, even though they were distracted by Herod, but they still met the child. In Matthew chapter 2, they still met the child and they worshiped the child and they opened their boxes and brought gold, myrrh, and frankincense. So don't miss the reason for the season, which is Jesus Christ.
Okay. I've been speaking with the National Publicity Secretary of the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, PFN. He's also the Senior Pastor, Christian Chapel International Christian Central Chapel International Church. Coordinator, Remedy for Victims of Religious Discrimination and Persecution, Bishop Emmah Isong. Thank you so very much.
Been my pleasure. Thank you so
having been,
much.
Our guest on Centerpoint AM45. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Alright. Okay, the rest of Centerpoint AM45 continues after this time out. I did say we have the state chairman, Nigerian Medical Association, and we'll be taking a look at the coronavirus. That's after this time.